welcome to my channel. I am a UPSC CSE aspirant, and in this video I am going to share my perspective and preparation strategy for the General Studies Paper 2, that is CSAT. And as you can see, this is my mark sheet for the 2023 attempt, and in paper 1 I scored 82.83, that is more than 7 marks ahead of the cutoff. And in paper 2 I lost just because of 1 mark. This was so disheartening for me that this 1 mark that I lost drove me to do a 360-degree analysis of this entire exam. The actual decoding of what UPSC demands from the aspirants, or basically the qualities that UPSC expects in a civil servant, is something that UPSC is trying to check through these exams, right? So this is not something rocket science. All of us know about this. But the problem is we don't internalize this fact. We don't implement this when we are studying or preparing for this exam. We try to just dive into the knowledge, the plethora of information available, and we try to memorize it. And we don't understand how to actually prepare ourselves in order to fulfill the demand of the exam. So this made me realize something and forced me to tweak or maybe change the entire process of preparing for this exam. So if you're someone struggling with CSAT, stay tuned with me. So let us first understand the challenge of this exam. The biggest challenge is not the difficulty of the questions or the topics asked, because you cannot tell UPSC to set some easy questions for us. But we can definitely rectify the way or approach of preparing this exam. Then what is the problem in the way of preparing this and how we can solve it? So the problem is something I called memory domination. Now what is this? Our brains have been trained to cram things up. We memorize anything and everything that comes in front of us. We don't know how to think. We don't think while we are trying to solve any question. So for example, what we do is, for example, take a topic like syllogism. We try to learn or memorize the method of solving this particular topic. We try to memorize this and we apply this method to all the questions. And we have this urge of arriving at the answer. We are more concerned about the answer than the method of reaching the answer. So what we do is, when we see some twisted or slightly difficult questions, we are not able to handle them because the method that we have learned might not apply here and you might not get the answer. And we think the questions have been difficult. This is the major problem of our preparation and not clear in this exam. And what is the solution for this? Through my analysis, what I have understood is always pick up the root of anything. Understand the core demand. What do you think is the core demand of asking these questions in paper 2? UPSC is basically trying to check your thinking ability. How much and in what depth can you think in a calm and clear way? You are able to solve those questions in a controlled environment, handling the pressure and stress, and arriving at the correct solution. Then, why are we not able to understand this? The problem is we know things, but we don't implement it. We know that UPSC is trying to see how much intelligent or how much our thinking, how much we can think. But the problem is when we prepare for the exam, we don't prepare our thinking capabilities. And that is where we get grabbed into, because we are, in a race of absorbing from the plethora of information available. So our focus is more on cramming things and learning and memorizing things rather than internalizing the actual demand and practicing and developing it. So we have to basically align our approach in a way that is fulfilling the demand. What is the demand? Thinking. Then you have to learn to think. You should learn and develop the muscle. Develop thinking muscle. And you have to do exactly this in the exam hall. You have to show UPSC that you are able to think and clear that cutoff. I want to demonstrate what I was telling by taking this CSAT topic series, which is of immense importance in the syllabus. So, say for example, you are studying series. The first question that you should ask yourself is why UPSC is asking this. There must be some thinking ability that UPSC is checking. What is that ability? And how do I develop that thinking muscle? Like in series, UPSC is trying to check your pattern recognition capability, right? There are numbers, series, or whatever, series of number or alphabet series. So, in that, you have to understand that there is some pattern hidden that the numbers are following, and in that, you might be asked to find the value of x or maybe identify the wrong term. These kind of questions are usually asked. So, to understand the wrong term or to find out the value of x in the question, you have to first decode the pattern. Because, see, you have to learn to think how to decode the pattern. Because there are so many patterns in the world. UPSC might choose any pattern and give in the exam. You cannot memorize these patterns, right? You have to learn to think and identify the pattern. You have to train your brain to identify what is the pattern that is hidden in the series. And for that, there are steps, right? Like the first one would be you first interpret the question. See, now I'm telling you that series is the topic. But in the exam, there is not written somewhere that which question is from which topic. UPSC won't tell you from which topic any question is asked. You have to first read the question and understand what it is asking. You know, demand of the question. Okay, what is actually the question? To know what is the question, you have to interpret the question. Once you understand the demand, then you have to think how to solve it. You have to just barely think in your mind, how do I solve it? There are steps for it. First, like we are taking series, right? So there are numbers written like 2, 5, 7, and so on and so forth. So you have to understand, okay, what is the relation between those numbers that are written. Say, for example, there is this series. When you read this, you have to understand what could be the relation between these numbers. These seem like prime numbers, something like this. So you can start with a simple rule. Start with a simple rule. If that rule is not fitting in, then go for a second rule, right? Let us understand this with the help of a live demonstration.